Okay, who I support for president and why. Like Sexy Phil, I will be supporting Ron Paul for president in 2008. Um, Unlike a lot of people who are going to be supporting a particular candidate, I am an anarchist. And a lot of people say, oh, well, anarchists, they don't believe in governments, right? Well, that's true, we don't. And so normally I wouldn't vote. But in this case, I am going to make an exception because I feel that it's possible for Ron Paul to get the government to stop contributing to some of the problems around the world today, even though I don't think that government is the solution to these problems. Okay, the first problem I'm going to talk about is the war in Iraq. Obviously, everybody knows now that we shouldn't have been there in the first place, and it's a mistake for us to stay there. The longer United States soldiers stay, the more innocent Iraqis are going to be killed, the more U.S. soldiers are going to be killed, and it's not going to solve anything. They don't want us there, they don't want our help, and they're not real interested in having us set up a government for them. So we should just come home, you know? Also, Paul also discusses bringing home troops from military bases around the world in countries like South Korea, Japan, Germany, and I think he's 100% correct on this. As an anarchist, I'll make arguments on why taxation and government's military should exist at all, but I think most people can agree that there is absolutely no justification for taxing me and my neighbors and my friends to pay for the national defense of a country we don't even live in. And let's face it, Japan, Germany, South Korea, these nations are wealthy enough they can take care of themselves. I mean, even in the case of South Korea, they're getting Kim Jong-il to back down on his nuclear program by sending his country food aid. If you can't feed your country, you're probably not in any shape to be holding a war. Second issue I want to talk about is sound money. And I'm going to get a quote here. This is from the economist Ludwig von Mises. It says, "It is impossible to grasp the meaning of the idea of sound money if one does not realize that it was devised as an instrument for the protection of civil liberties against despotic inroads on the part of governments. Ideologically, it belongs in the same class with political constitutions and bills of right." And what this means is the concept of sound money was designed to restrain the government from doing a lot of the things that it's doing now. You know, the government right now has this huge, absolutely massive deficit. $9 trillion or whatever it is. And how is that actually financed? And people think, oh, well, they're just running this deficit. They're going to pay for it with taxes down the road. Well, no, it's being paid for now. And it's called inflation. Money is how we exchange value in an economy. And as long as you maintain the same ratio of dollars to actual value, then price levels stay the same. But when you begin to add more dollars to the economy than you add value, you get inflation and the value of the dollar will decline. However, this doesn't happen instantaneously. There's a sort of a time-delayed process here before the market figures out that there's more dollars chasing after the goods than there were before. And so the people who get the money first actually get to benefit from this. And they're better off than they were before. The people who get the money last, once they get it, it's all been inflated away, this extra value that was supposedly there when the dollar was accepted at what its previous face value was. And so the people who get the money first, in effect, have stolen money from those who got it last. Except in the case of the Federal Reserve, those who get the money first are the government. And this is how they finance things like the war in Iraq. Popular all of a sudden here. One of Ron Paul's positions is advocating the gold standard. And a lot of people give him crap for that, and I can't understand why. What are they, monetary theorists? Usually not. But the point of the gold standard is that you can't just print gold. You can't just add money to the economy at your whim to pay for some foreign war somewhere. Money is effectively in the hands of the people as opposed to that of the government. Kind of an interesting side note, those who have attempted to establish competing currencies to the US dollar here in the United States, like the Liberty Dollar and eGold, were raided recently by FBI and I believe Secret Service on charges of money laundering and mail fraud, which, this happens just as the dollar starts to tank, and I kind of sit there and think, what's this crap, honestly? So I'll include some links on the sidebar with regards to Sound Money and the raids on eGold and Liberty Dollar. I could probably actually find some video on the Liberty Dollar raids here on YouTube if you wanted to. Anyway, Ron Paul, 2008. Peace out.